Hello everyone, this is Hamid Reza Saeb Zamani. I am Technical Services Manager for SAMI Bitumen Technologies in Australia. And today we are going to talk about the resilient pavements and roles of bitumen emulsion to have the more resilient pavement. The content of the presentation is definition of the resilience and specification of resilient roads and pavements. And then we will discuss about how high-performing bitumen emulsion can help us to get through the more resilient pavement. And we will discuss different technologies like emulsion-treated base, in place or in plant, cold mix asphalts, trackless bond coats, emulsion primes, and high-performing seals. So first, let's look at the definition of the resilience. In total, in general, the resilience is how to build the capacity to deal with the unexpected changes. In 2005, FHWA defined the resilience as the ability to anticipate, prepare for, and adapt to changing conditions and withstand, respond to, and recover rapidly from disruptions. So in this definition, we have two different concepts for the changing conditions and also disruptions. And then we have another definition from Infrastructure Australia in 2022, which is said that resilient communities have the ability to resist, absorb, accommodate, recover, transform, and thrive in a timely, effective manner in response to the effects of shocks and stress. So here we have two terms of shocks and stress, which is similar to the FHWA for changing condition and disruptions. So if you want to define the shocks, actually shocks are sudden and sharp events such as earthquake, flood, bushfires, pandemic disease, and so on. And stresses are longer term chronic conditions that impact physical assets such as climate change, aging of our infrastructure, droughts, and so on. And the fact is that shocks and stresses are now happening more frequently and severely due to climate change. For example, in the report of Infrastructure Australia is mentioned, just for example, in 2022, the cost of the natural disaster in Australia was $80 billion. And in 2050, it's predicted to be $39 billion, which is more than double. So these, what effect actually might have these on our roads? So when we have the shocks and the stresses, so first of all, in the road construction, we will have flood inundation and rising groundwater tables, leading to premature pavement deterioration. And also drought and decreasing the water table could also happen, and then we will have the land subsidence and also sinkholes. So due to climate change, we will have extreme temperatures leads to rotting and in high temperature, and also cracking in low temperatures, and destruction of asphalt concrete plant used to produce material due to a shock or disruption. So when something happens, maybe we will have a situation that the asphalt plant or the concrete plant is not working anymore in that local area. And then we will have the rerouting of trucks or demolition and removal damaging pavement after this eruption, which is the cascading event as well. So these are the things that actually could happen to our assets, and we don't want to see. So the left one is the drought. It's a photo from Iran. So the water table reduction, and then we will have we had the sinkholes. And the right photo is because of the too much moisture and oversaturated, so we are going to have the slope in instability. And these two photos is again another shocks, which is earthquake. And then here we are going, we have the flood, so all the roads is gone under the flood. So what we expect from the resilient roads? Actually, we know that road and airport are some of the most important infrastructure, especially during the times of disaster. So, and they play a vital role in connecting people, places, enabling essential assistance and support. During the shock, a resilient road may lose the function temporarily, but the structure should remain sound. This is one of the most important things that the resilient road should have. So maybe we lose the function, but it should be recovered soon, and the structure should remain sound. And as I mentioned, they should have the ability to recover soon. And a resilient road is also adapted to climatic stresses such as drought, global warming, and also higher frequency for the freeze and thaw cycles. To be resilient, we need to first understand our vulnerabilities. So, which is we need to see that where are our weak points in our assets or system, and how might these be impacted by an event like a natural disaster. And then we should assess the risk associated with these vulnerabilities. What level of risk can you assume? What are the consequences? And then we need to adapt our assets to that. So use tools to adapt the system from its original design to account for the resilient needs. And then when we are talking about the resilient roads, so there is various features across different aspects. So in the roads, the geometric design is very important. The elevation of the road maybe is very important. Sometimes we need to increase the elevation of the road. The location of the road, sometimes some places it's very prone to the some condition like the shocks and the stresses, so we abandon and then we just change the location of the road. The subgrade properties is very important, and then at the end the road pavement, which is the case for this seminar and IBEF association. So as the resilient pavement, for the resilient pavement as flexible pavements, we have a lot of tools actually. Flexible pavements actually are a resilient option for us, and they help us to have the resilient roads. Why? Because we can construct them rapidly, so they have the rapid construction features, which is very good when it's something happening, so we can recover them soon. A stage construction is one of the things, so we can just construct the first phase, just emergency, and then get the service, and after that we can come back and do the rest of the job, which it's not possible for some other pavements. So we can have the perpetual pavements. For example, when we are using the high modulus asphalt like EME2 is one of the options, or base stabilization like emulsion treated base, foam treated base, or even full depth reclamation. In the flexible pavement, we can use recycled material, which is good because sometimes if something happens like shocks or stresses, maybe we don't have access to the virgin material, and it's good that we can have the ability to use the recycled material. Porous asphalt is one of the tools that we have to manage the stormwater. And another thing is warm mixes and cold mixes, because warm mixes and cold mixes help us to have the long haul distance for the produced asphalt. And if something happens and the local plants are not working, so we can transfer the asphalt from the distance. And also we have the climate adaptable materials. So we nowadays, for example, in the binder area, we have the hybrid modified binders, which is triggering both high temperature and low temperature and withstand with the rotting and fatigue. And they are more stable in terms of climate change or global warming or very low temperature in some areas. And then the question is how bitumen emulsion can help us in this journey. So some of the technologies that we are using, the bitumen emulsion, and it will help us to have the more resilient pavement and more resilient roads, are emulsion treated base, cold mix asphalt, high performing tack coats, fast penetrating prime coats, and also high float emulsion for spray sealing or chip sealing. So the first technology is emulsion treated base, or ETB. So as you may know, is using we are using some agents, some binders. It could be cement binder, foam binder, emulsion binder, or mixture of both. Normally when we are using foam, we use a little bit of hydrated lime, or we are using emulsion, we use some amount of cement to stabilize our base course and improve the strength of the base course, and can be done in place or in plant process. So this photo is the in place one, when you can see first we spread the cement, and then water supply and emulsion supply connected to the device, and then the machine is crushing and mixing, and then we have the initial compaction, leveling, and then the final compaction. The study that we did, we checked the modulus of the emulsion treated base, foam treated base, and also granular base. Because of the dispersion of the bitumen droplet in the emulsion treated base, we had the higher resilient modulus in the emulsion treated base comparing to foam treated base and granular base. And then we designed it with the Circli software. We saw that the thickness of the final pavement can be less, up to 50% in the emulsion treated base solution, and then 40% in the foam treated base solution. And when we use the GHG, we calculate the GHG emission using the CEF software. The GHG emission reduction in ETB, emulsion treated base, comparing to the normal granular base, was 43% reduction. So how emulsion treated base have benefit for us? Actually, using the treated base to strengthen and waterproof our base course is one of the solution to have the more durable roads, and it can be against help us to improve the response and adaptability during the shocks like floods and stresses like moisture level change. And using emulsion also can help to reduce the thickness and use of raw material and decrease the carbon footprint. So again, help us to decrease the global warming effects. And emulsion treated base are also less water sensitive to other treating solutions. Another technology is cold mix asphalt. So bitumen emulsion can be used to produce different type of cold mixes, storage stable mixes, fast cohesion build-up mixes for the surface layer, for example, using regulating layers below surface layers as the grave emulsion, or using as pothole repair product. We can have it packable in the bucket or bags, or using the blue patcher devices. And we can have the possibility to use up to 100% wrap. And these are the numbers in the literature for the calculation of the environmental effect of the cold mix asphalt comparing to the other technologies, and also hot mix asphalt. We can see that cold mix versus hot mix, we will have 36% reduction in GHG and 30% reduction in energy consumption. So in total, the advantages of using cold mix asphalt with bitumen emulsion in terms of resilience and sustainability, it is possible to long haul transport the cold mix and transfer them to remote damage place during the shocks and disruption, because as I told, so maybe some local asphalt or concrete pads are out of order due to the shocks or whatever happened. And it is also possible to store the cold mix and use them gradually during the response to event. And they are quick and easy construction, fast open to traffic, suitable to create access temporary roads. And emergency, we can do the emergency repair of the roads with the for the potholes with the packable asphalt or storable cold mix asphalts. Another one is the high performing tack or bond coat. So actually one of the key but sometimes overlooked component of a pavement is the bond strength between layers. Tack coat is a sprayed application of a bituminous binder on existing asphalt surface, existing concrete surface, and also between layers of the new asphalt. and the role is to provide a glue between the layers to create a monolithic structure having bond dependent layers. So these are the photos. If you can see the distresses, if we have the poor tack code, so we have the shoving distress, we will have the delamination, and especially in the composite pavement, the asphalt will slip on the surface of the concrete surface if we don't have the good tack code or bond code. So one of the things in the high performing tack code is having the trackless tack code. So what is the tracking? As you can see in the photo, so tracking is sticking the bitumen emulsion to the truck tires or equipment tires in the job site and pick up the emulsion and put it in other places. So it means that in the place that we need to have the bond, we don't have the bitumen anymore because it's already picked up. So this is also the test that with some modification we can do in the lab, ASTM D711, which is originally for the paint industry, but we can use it to check the trackless properties of the bitumen emulsion. We developed the bitumen emulsion, trackless bitumen emulsion in our lab, and actually we saw that it was trackless after 20 minutes, but the normal cationic rapid setting was not trackless even more than 2 hours. And another criteria in having the high performing tack code or bond code is interface shear strength bond shear test. So we have several tests to evaluate the bond shear test, like Lautner test or NCAT JIG, which is in this photo is NCAT test. And in the with this test, we can measure the shear strength between the two layers of the asphalt or between the asphalt layer attaching to the concrete layer in the composite pavement. And we had a project, and it was the composite pavement sticking the asphalt to the concrete, and we saw that with the good high performance trackless tack code in the lab, we could gain the shear strength up to 2.5 times more than the normal tack code that it was already specified for the project. So the benefit and advantages in terms of resilience and sustainability is having the proper tack code between layers in flexible pavement. It actually is crucial to have long-lasting roads. And also when we are looking into composite pavement, asphalt on concrete, which can be considerable as a resilient option, one of the main issues is sticking the asphalt to concrete, which needs a trackless tack code with high interface shear strength. Another one is the emulsion prime. So this is the function of the prime code. As we know, it's spraying the bituminous binder on the granular base before the asphalt layer or spray seal to increase the adhesion between the granular base and top layer, to help the seal and waterproof, and also to help strengthen the base near the top layer and provide temporary protection. So one of the products, emulsion products, is the bio-based emulsion prime. These are the environmentally friendly alternative. So they are solvent-free, no flammable or harmful volatile. They are consisting of bitumen emulsion, actually, with 100% vegetable oil derivatives. They are nearly carbon neutral, and they are very fast penetrating. It doesn't have any harm to the people that they are using or environment or the wildlife around. And depending on the temperature, can be penetrate to our base course as little as 1 hour, which is, for example, if we are using cutback products, which is banned in many countries actually, but we need to wait for several days to it completely cured and penetrate to the base course. And this is the test that we can evaluate this product, is penetration power test. As you can see, the bioemulsion prime is penetrate completely in 40 seconds, but the normal cutback is 176 seconds. So it's almost 4 times faster in the laboratory. So the benefit is that they are fast penetration to the base course, increase efficiency of the job site, being carbon neutral, aligned with sustainable development and CO2e reduction strategies, and safe to use for crew and wildlife around. So another technology is the high performing seals. They are a special emulsion for spray seal or chip seals. The emulsion is the cationic rapid set high flow thixotropic PMB emulsion. So the thixotropic emulsion, the viscosity is also related to the shear rate, and the bitumen residue forms a gel structure after the water evaporates. So this results, the residue is more viscose binder, which reduce the risk of runoff and also help increase the cohesion development and reduce the risk of new seal being damaged when exposed to traffic. And the seal withstand a wider range of temperature in hot and cold, which is good in terms of stresses, and also can be constructed with graded unwashed and unprecoated aggregate. Is more environmentally friendly solution without the need of any priming and can be used on steep roads. So as a conclusion, due to climate change, we are going to have more environmental shock and disruptions. Thinking about the adaptability and durability of our roads against stresses and shock is a need. And we need to define the strategies to understand our weak points, assess the risks, and use our tools to make our roads more adaptable. There are several solutions for the flexible pavement to make them more resilient, and solutions based on bitumen emulsion are strong tools for us in this journey, such as ETB, cold mixes, trackless tack coat, bio-based emulsion, primes, and also polymer modified high float seals. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and please ask any question that you have.